Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. All right. Can everyone hear me well? It's not too dim. Awesome. Okay. So, before we begin, I'd love to invite you for a little intention setting exercise with me. This is just a tiny habit that we do usually with my team, and I find it extremely helpful for bringing our awareness and mindfulness together. And I love to get your input since I can't be all of you and talking to you really live in person, which would have been wonderful. But if you could put it in the messages, they're able to text, right, into the messages? Yeah.
Sorry, what was the question?
So
Yeah.
they could add their comments, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we value and welcome X, and that X is for you to sort of co-create. So I actually haven't filled it out, so I'm doing it live here. We are here. We're in the now. We're all in this together, and we value and welcome vulnerability and authenticity. That's what came up just now for me. If you would, trust, empathy, difference, wonderful. Inclusion, possibility, thank you. Curiosity, authenticity, compassion, openness, freedom. I also feel the sense of presence with you right now. Delight, Melissa, joy, healthy challenges, connection. Thank you. Cooperation and support. Shreya. Resonance, David. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And feel free to still drop in. This is the Earth, and we are all magically together, even though we're spread around the Earth. And this is the International Space Station that is at the altitude of 240 miles at a speed of 17,500 miles per hour. Okay. And guess what? A few times a year, we go to this International Space Station, and one of the missions, it took 29 hours and flew over 500,000 miles. And we were delayed by 37 minutes. We arrived later than planned for 37 minutes. There's one other mission that was delayed for 17 minutes. And one of the recent ones was only delayed for 4 minutes. And the entire journey was 30 hours. Again, flying over many, many miles. And here is a living room of our house. There is the main cave, which is office, sofa, and there's the bedroom. There are 2 routes going to the bedroom, potentially, right, from your cave or from your couch. I'd love to invite you to make a guess of what is the question I'm going to ask next. There is actually a prize. So if you put in your answer, your guesses in the chat, and also I'd like to invite everyone to kind of collectively give this prize. If you could, take 30 seconds and think about what thing that brings you joy. It can be a picture, it can be a sentence, can be just a memory, anything that you think would bring you joy. And just send it to this email. And I would love to send it to the one who would win the prize of all of the joyful texts and messages. Silence is awkward, but I hope that you can all participate and be a little interactive with me here. And I'm experimenting with little things in events like this, but I really seeking connections with you and wanting this. So if you want to just 30 seconds to email to this, can be, don't overthink anything that comes to mind. It can be even a quote, even just the last 24 hours. What was something that was joyful? Maybe share your experience. Here in questionnaire. Your guess, you can just put it in a chat. What's your guess of the, I presented this, the International Space Station mission of traveling miles, and then our living room, from the slides. Guess. Why are we so obsessed with speed and efficiency? What a good guess, Marta. Time to move from the main cave to bed versus the couch to bed. Okay? Yep. What else? Any other guesses? How often does the man leave the cave? Okay. All right. I would like to see 2 more guesses. Anything would go. Let's not take things too seriously. What are the expectations for route 1 and 2? Okay. Where do we go next? Okay. Love that. What's the relationship between the human scale and global scale when thinking of change? Getting from one place to another. Okay. Okay. What should be the shortest path? What is my connection to this room? Amazing. Yeah. So, okay. So among you, who have been to bed later than 47 minutes, 47 minutes later than planned last night? Who went to bed 47 minutes later than planned last night? Okay. Who went to bed 4 minutes later than planned last night? Just within 5 minutes of your planned time. Every night someone says, I have. Okay. So we are so good at being in time, on time, sending spaceship to the moon or to the sky. But yet we have very little control in getting us to go to bed in time. The question that I'm asking us, why do we go to bed later than planned or desired? Any answers? Some people will say, well, I simply couldn't fall asleep. There is this big event the next day. I just simply needed that extra half an hour to prepare for it. Pesky children, for sure. I had a friend visiting. We had a really good time. That was totally worth it. Lost track of time, overthinking. Maybe there was a bit of social media screen, just one more episode. Procrastination, no deadline. Not enough hours in the day. A call with another side of the world, needed it, screen time. Does it matter? Does it matter if we go to bed time and sleep enough at all? I mean, all this seems like all good reasons for us to go to bed later than planned. Does it matter? Anybody thinks that matters? Does anybody think that it matters than sending rockets to the space right now? Like, should we put all the rocket scientists actually like change their mission and say, hey, why don't you like help us figure this out first? I need to wake up early. It matters. Have you seen someone or talked to someone, interacted with someone who have been sleep deprived for 3 days in a row? Are they kind of pleasant to interact with? Well, as a matter of fact, we actually don't know how much it matters if we go to bed in time or not, because we have never run a serious experiment that we would, for example, if the entire city, everyone, this is just an ideal scenario, go to bed in time and sleep enough for 7 days in a row. And that city contrasting with half of the people sleeping just half an hour, 1 hour less than ideal. How would these two cities look like? How is it in the daily interaction? How is everybody's mood? How is productivity? How is diet? Is there over snacking still happening? How is the anything? Do we actually know? As far as I am informed, I'm not aware of such an experiment that really systematically look at the impact. And what's our most intuitive guess by most people? It probably matters, but I actually don't care enough to know how much it matters. So while human beings now are such genius in understanding the external world, in creating the most incredible technology for convenience, for efficiency of our daily operations, we have not been rocket scientists when it comes to social sciences, soft sciences, when it comes to human sciences. We have hacked almost a lot of the challenges of the body. The medical world of the body is very active. Yet, the science of the mind, the medical world of the mind, is not very advanced. And what defines a good question? This is such a big open question. I would love to hear from you. What do you think is a good question? The question that I just asked, how do we assess that? Was that a good question that I asked? What's the criterion? Can you share with me your thoughts there? Any criterion. A good question is a question that makes us think differently. Okay, Mata, thank you. Thought-provoking. Creates an opportunity to understand ourselves and others, okay? Gives a direction, Natasha. Challenges assumptions. Opens the road to other questions. Encourages us to dig deeper within. Amazing. Inspires curiosity. This is a tunnel. As we know, sometimes we have tunnel vision. When we set a goal in our head, we will be tunnel vision orienting to that goal. A good question potentially gives you a new tunnel to be in. It gives you potentially a new direction of the journey. It's not about potentially, it also, helps you be faster in getting out of the tunnel or reaching the goal. But I think what Itai and the community really want us to do is to really think clear about the direction, because otherwise you're making a difference in how quick you can get to the wrong direction. And so I'd love to do a little brainstorming with you in really taking this question seriously about how can we ask simple enough questions about our everyday life that truly matters to our health and happiness, but that we maybe have not thought about it enough because it seems like a simple question. Why don't we go to bed in time? So simple. But this simple question actually begs not so simple answers. Is there anything else you could think of that is potentially a good question to ask that would make a difference in your life? Because if everyone does that, the whole city can flourish more. If everyone would just question a little bit more about if they're flourishing enough in their every microsecond of their life and micro decision of their life. So what would you experiment with? Or have you thought about experimenting with anything at all? Have you just been autopiloting and following the old path, or in that tunnel vision of what you thought is just normal life? What would you experiment with? I want to give some examples. We just had the eclipse, and can you imagine what's the impact of the eclipse on us? I was in Arkansas, and we had the NASA people there. There are lots of eclipse chasers, humans around, and one impact. I actually am getting a goosebump before I even share with you. One impact afterwards was that everyone was so eager to give another human a hug. This was true the day after, 2 days after. And I couldn't have imagined how this would come about naturally, without the eclipse. And so, of course, it's not that we can always inject the eclipse experience in people's life to see what changes afterwards. But think about also the pandemic. How has that impacted us? How has that forced us to really change the way how we perceive normal and be brave enough to go for some abnormal, and how it has changed the norm of working in the office versus not. In fact, there was already scientific data showing working distantly or not in the office can actually help promote productivity. But nobody would actually take the data seriously until we got this experience and was forced to do that and figured out, in reality that, hey, actually it doesn't hurt, it can even help. And so unless we really try experientially, we're not going to find out. And this is also something so challenging that we can't be like systematically running life experiments in everybody's daily life because of all these, challenges of privacy, etc. But what if everyone becomes a scientist of your own life and co-create on this? Okay, so here we have a little post-it. Actually, in my info, this is upside down. I have this little card that I put above the light switch for my bedroom, and because the science shows, for example, if we would have this gratitude practice, it's even much better than diary journaling in reducing our anxiety and contribute to better sleep. And so, what if I experiment with this every day for a month? Would that actually improve my sleep? What if I experiment with making an intention to always think about something positive as a memory Photoshop? And a modified interactive version, me and my partner, we would tell each other about 3 photos of the day every night. And we have been doing it now for almost 2 months. What if I can capture the impact of this in our relationship? Does it actually matter? We have this, good habit of planning, intention setting that a lot of self-help book would talk about, right? If we would think about an interactive version, I actually have our company every day. We do a little daily stand-up, and we would share our feelings and actually our wishes for the day in a collective way. And I even do it with my partner. And here's our daily stand-up. We would spend 10 minutes talking about our feeling and our personal small win and big win. And how does this actually matter, right? So the truth is we have very little experimentation in some of these invisible impacts, and I really would love to provoke you in thinking about some structural exercise, 3 minutes a day, 3 times a day. If you would really intentionally design it like a scientist and think about those things, all of the good things that are good for your well-being, health, you can just ask ChatGPT, what did behavioral science discover, right? Like good practices, and just try it out and see what happens. Maybe it's not this tiny habit you can even think about once a week, you do a 30 minutes thing. Right. Recently, I had this magical haircut, and this was part of the experimentation. I let my partner cut my hair, partly because I live in Thailand now. A haircut is $3, and in San Francisco it's $100. And but the unexpected wing of it, because we can't easily clean, if we have clothes on. So I had to take all of my clothes off. And then I realized that if he has clothes on, it's also inconvenient. So I request that he also takes his clothes off. So it turned out to be one of the most fun experience, connection. So that was just unexpected win out of just, going out of the normal and try something. So, okay. So the real question that really I'm posing here, and I'm in my last 2 minutes of my talk, is if we become seriously scientific about the mind and not just the body. Yuval Noah Harari, the one who wrote Homo sapien, he said that in the past, we humans learned to control the world outside us, and we have very little control over the world inside us. And perhaps it is time, even for such a thinker, to already, understand our next breakthrough would be about humans understanding ourselves and understanding how to change our behavior or design our behavior and our environment, so that we can live every day in the most meaningful way. So if you can participate in this and be the scientist of your own daily life, how would that look like?